All right, be sure to watch our special education roadshow next Sunday at 9:30 a.m. New Detroit School Superintendent Dr. Nikolai Vitti will be one of our guests. He's also the subject of a new in-depth report by our Detroit Journalism Cooperative partner, Chalkbeat Detroit. Here to tell us more about Dr. Vitti's first 3 months on the job is Chalkbeat Detroit senior correspondent, Erin Einhorn. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. So you got some really great firsthand access to Dr. Vitti to do this story. Talk about what he is seeing that I guess is surprising him maybe as he tries to put the district back together.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the problems, the challenge he's up against is well known to anyone who's been paying attention.
Sure.
Right? Clearly, the district has low test scores and you know a seriously damaged reputation. Where, I mean, I think fewer than half the children in Detroit are attending the district. So there's financial problems. There's all kinds of significant challenges. But one of the things he shared with me as I spent some time with him last month was he was really surprised by how much the systems, the basic systems you would need to run not just a school district, but honestly any organization, had just been dismantled, as he described it.
Yeah, and dismantled by the emergency managers who were supposedly sent here to shore up those systems and make sure that they were left behind for someone else, right?
Well, one of the comments he made was, for the most part, they weren't, well, the emergency managers weren't educators, so it's not particularly a surprise that maybe they weren't as focused on the curriculum or the academics as an educator might be. He said, but, I would have hoped that since they were financial experts, they would have gotten the contracts and the hiring and all of those other systems that you really need. And now he's trying to, his challenge is to sort of rebuild all of that and sort of start, as he describes it, from scratch in rebuilding those structures, while also at the same time trying to focus on the academics, doing a full curriculum audit, and also trying to envision a different future for the district. So it's not just, oh my God, we're in crisis, let's deal with the matter that's right in front of us, but what are the things that we have to do to create some, I mean, it sounds hokey to say it, but almost hope, right? What are things we have to do in order to actually make this the district that parents are going to choose?
Yeah, and that choice, he's really focused in on that, as opposed to, I guess, complaining about charter schools and the advantages that they've had in terms of attracting parents and their students, their kids, to their schools. He's saying, well, that's okay. We'll indulge that competition, and we'll win. That's a really different kind of attitude.
Yeah, and he's ruffled a lot of feathers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been, there was an op-ed written last week by a charter school leader saying, we're all in it for the children. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. And I was at an event with him last night where he said, they only seem to want to collaborate with me when they want my buildings or my land. Right. It's like, but the whole point, of charter schools, the supporters of charter schools say this is about competition. He said, okay, let's compete. Right. And he's trying to come up with new ideas for schools and programs. And one of the anecdotes I use in my story is a moment we were meeting with he was meeting, I was listening, with some museum executives who wanted to try to find ways to bring more kids in on field trips. And he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, field trips would be good. But what about, would you want to collaborate with me on a school? We can brand the school, with the museum and use, some curriculum and use your exhibits and your resources, and then kids will come and then, and it'll be fully integrated, and that's going to be something that would give a family a reason to choose the Detroit schools instead of, I think there's been this long history of it was the education of last resort. Right. He's trying to flip that and compete and say, what are the things we need to do to make this the first choice? Right.
Is he seeing things, we talk all the time about the things that don't work in Detroit schools, both at the systemic level and at the classroom level. How much time has he spent, though, at the schools that we know still exist that are really good and maybe, I don't know, might be models for other schools? Is he finding his way to those places?
Well, he started in May, so to some extent, so he spent sort of the last few weeks of the school year visiting them. I mean, it's also worth noting he has 4 children, and they are
going to DPS schools.
They are all in a district school, so that's certainly a school that he's getting to know well. You know, he talks about pockets of excellence that he describes. He kind of talks about this culture of the teachers who kind of stuck it out through a whole bunch of really difficult years and a lot of turmoil and major pay cuts. And most teachers in the district could get better paying jobs somewhere else. And these are the people who stayed. And that has created a certain, you know, dedication and the devotion that has really created some quality things that he's seeing in the classroom. But what he's trying to fix are ways that the central office can better support the schools and better support teachers and better support the education. You know, I don't know whether he'll be able to do that, but that's certainly the vision he's laid out, or that he's certainly hoping that he's able to do, and is certainly planning to try to do. Yeah.
Does he have any sense of how long it will take him to get, let's say, halfway to the goals that he set out for himself? I mean, he's said some pretty ambitious things just since he's been here. We all know it's not going to happen in the snap of a finger, but is he starting to think about how soon he can walk around and say, hey, look, we're getting there, stick with us, things are working out?
Yeah, I mean, and he's made comments like, you know, this is going to be the best urban school system in America. He said, you know, we're going to be a mecca where educators are going to come from around the country because they're going to want to be part of our transformation. And, you know, at the same time, he's also saying, you know, it took 20 years to break this school district. It had been one of the greatest, one of the strongest school systems in the country, and over the last 20, 30 years, it's been dismantled. And obviously, we could talk about the reasons why that happened.
many reasons.
Clearly, it's not going to happen overnight. But one example at the forum, I moderated a panel that he was on last night that he mentioned was, you know, currently we have, there were 212 unfilled teaching jobs in the system as of this week, and it was 250 on the first day of school. And he said, you know, he's like, if that's the case next year, then that's
you're not getting anywhere.
So you can show progress in places like that, you know. If we do have, you know, a system where, you know, principals are able to get the things that they need for their schools, and if he can raise teacher pay somehow and you know, create an environment where people want to work, where, you know, if he can reverse the enrollment declines.
Then he's getting there.
Yeah, I mean, enrollment's up, but mostly because they reabsorbed the education
kids. Okay, all right. You can read Erin's story at chalkbeat.org, one of our Detroit Journalism Cooperative partners. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.